Okay, we bottom page Lamed Zayin. So we're in the middle of explaining how the mashal and the spheres, the way they're in Neilam HaKudim and above it, the way they're all in a state of unity. They don't contradict each other. So in order to explain that, it brings in the passage seeing a mashal from Keches and Elam Shebenefesh. So first, we discussed Barichas, the way it is in Keches HaGluim. Keches HaGluim, the Keches are contradict. They can be at the same time. They contradict each other. The Seichel and Midas cannot work at the same time. When a person, when his mind is operating, his heart is not operating, and the opposite. Now, 6 lines on the bottom, he goes back to to go back to what I was actually discussing here. Viזכור ככס נעלמים, בשקן ככס נעלמים expressed, יחיינים לי יש שניהם כך. So we can have the two opposites operate at the same time. That's something we see with our own senses. The be'esa simcha, when a person is in a state of extreme joy, that's in the time where the hidden koiches are shining and revealed and expressed. So number one, when a person is in a state of extreme joy, his mind operates very powerfully. Yatzko Yischakim, he comes up with novel ideas, with new concepts, with new intellectual exploration. Not only is his mind operating, the deepest concepts are developed, are invented when he's in that state. So, like I said earlier, he said that the regular way of the mind and heart operating, the intellect and emotions, they contradict each other. But when he's in a state of extreme simcha, that's the time Giluk Echon, it can be both of them opposite. It can be Seichel and Midas, but in the fullest capacity. The Einim says they don't contradict each other. What?
Sorry. I have a question.
Yeah.
We say that the keches in keches poel, it's because it doesn't have the chesaron basically
right.
Of not having it. So
right.
But before the tzimtzum, how do we say that there's yecheles, right? It's in the level of yecheles.
Yeah.
But it's yecheles not only for 10, it's yecheles for everything, for a lot more, how does it become 10? Like there's 10 spheres. Where does that transition happen? We say that it's even before the tzimtzum.
Yeah, you're right. It's like what you're saying that before the tzimtzum gufa, there's a few stages. 10 spheres is in the law madriga. In this hemshach, that's interesting. In this hemshach, he doesn't talk about that. But in other places in Chassidus talks that the spheres ain't cats, like you say. The Yechelet means I can do anything. But when he's Yechelet has spheres, that's already one step below. One step below spheres ain't cats. It's not like it's according to the way it's explained in other places in Chassidus, the 10 spheres, that's already it's already within some kind of yachas to elements. That's what usually.
Like the teacher's thinking already about the student.
What?
Like the teacher's thinking already about the student.
You know, relatively speaking, you know. So, yeah, to a degree. I mean, it says, look, he speaks actually, was always there. So, in other words, we use the language that was always there, but even in that madriga, there is spheres and cats and there's esospheres. Esospheres is a lower state in that gilui. So the chayler, the way it is of spheres and cat, the way it is esospheres, that it's the one madriga above the other. But in our mind, it doesn't talk about that madriga spheres and cats. It's just like a chayler. The way he relates, the way he explains it is that he talks about how the spheres are in the highest madriga. But okay, it's a valid question, but that in this hemshech somehow he doesn't discuss that point.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I can look it up. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Okay, but now, but now we are still in the middle of the mashal. So now you see, but the mashal is something which he says roim b'chush. And it happens once in a while that the Maimon says Roim B'chush, but he's talking about something we can really pinpoint on a regular basis. But we do have some inkling what he's talking about. We see that people in a state of extreme joy, the way they behave is not normal, not in normal circumstances, but he's saying here something probably very rare, very extreme. Some people in that state, the mind operates in the highest level, and at the same time the heart is very emotionally expressed. They don't contradict each other. I don't know. Did you ever see this in real life? I don't know. I don't know if we can. We can have a little feeling what he's talking about. Another point. Chesed הגבורה ביחד, so that's even easier harder to understand because he's talking Beis HaSimcha. So Beis HaSimcha, I mean, Beis HaSimcha can be Simcha Meiras Ke'echad, Shneim B'Tekev Gadol. B'Koiches HaGluim, Beis HaShev Simcha Ein Meiras Kein Leifach. So he just brings in another dogma. Until now, he spoke about Meichen and Midas, a very long arishas, but now he brings in within Midas Gufa two types of emotions: the happiness and sadness. So he says a person can have both in the same. When the keches nalam and begilui, and keches agluim are based should be simcha animals. The keches agluim cannot be at the same time. Okay, what dogma is he bring here? In the dogma, we see it in our experience times, at the times of the year, when this gas I think Vasdem Hageni means Sukkot. Okay, so you have something that does man go here. So what he's saying that Haselsim Ekshuva in Sukkot Tisha in general, I guess, the person that is Gal's Kerch Ne'elam. Person's deeper attributes of the nefesh are expressed, and what happened? What we see, mischalef kerega misimcha merias l'simcha ve'enim seisim v'anim zel zeklal. As opposed to the rest of the year, the person cannot jump so fast from one mode to the other, from happiness to sadness, and vice versa. Mashenken, when it comes to there's some tshuva and sukkahs. I think that means Bakesem Chagenu. It's also possible that it says Bakesem Hagenu is maybe lav dafka means sukkahs. It means maybe Rosh Hashanah Kippur because the Gemara says Bakesem Hagenu is Rosh Hashanah and Kese is I guess the rem is Kese is something hidden. Ne'elomim Yom Hagenu Bezgalus. That is that maybe it's Marambas in the pasuk Bakesem Hagenu that is Galus Akechas Ne'elomim. So what's interesting here is that it brings a in a pasuk something which on the roim. 1 second. We see it, but so we see a situation that in Tishrei, in Rosh Hashanah Kippur, that a person can jump from one to the other in a way that they don't contradict. So that proves, that's another proof that the Kechas and Elomim in the Madrig of Kechas and Elomim, these two things don't contradict each other. So that's the mash. Dugma mizeh yuval namaylo badei shtamana mechsilus shom kol asfiras akshum michodim yach. So first, this is a marshal on akudim, tzavav atzilus, like he said earlier in the Maimon. Shom kol asfiras akshum michodim yachad. They're just like Kechas and Elam. Okay, you me call shekain. From that we make a kal v'chayma. But it's such live not symptom kol asfiras kshur michodim man b'shprim es ha'al v'sech. Okay, so finish. So this is basically this entire discussion teaches us how before the tzimtzum the spheres were not divided. There was no division. There was also unity. Okay, 1 second. Just a second. So, sorry. shackle. Okay, so that was, it started, the mind was saying, yes, oy tam and the tzimtzum. That till now we learned that the point of the tzimtzum was that spheres, instead of being shittos, they should be mitzius. But in this mind was machadash another reason, another need for the tzimtzum. That's why there was need for tzimtzum, because the way that the spheres was before the 10 spheres. You're right, the spheres and cats, but it doesn't talk about here. Here it talks about there was the 10 spheres in a way of Knes Ardus Mamish, while there is a tzimtzum with the Shium Sharak sphere Achas Potis, like the Mishim Kolim Yach. Now that should be only one separate sphere, a separate division. The sphere should be divided, should be on a shach of one sphere, and that sphere will eventually create the Shtalshus. What is Pshat? He says, what does it mean more general, more specific maybe? Sheyum Sharak Kina Yes Achain Vayis Tachten Shabbat Yisrael Baruch Hu. Before the tzimtzum, when all the spheres were equal, like Echz and Elomim, so there's the Amshacha, we just said in the marshal of the Simcha and Rosh Hashanah, when the Amshacha is all the keiches are expressed evenly. So the highest sphere and the lowest sphere are expressed at the same time. In order for the creation of the world can only be from the lowest madrigas. In order to separate the lowest madrigas from the rest, that is another reason why we need the tzimtzum. The Zem move on, the creation of the elements can only be from the lowest madrig. Even when we talk in Kabbalah about the law after the tzimtzum, but all the elements, the shtash, one element is mishtash from the other. So what do we say there? That a part of Atach is Savas, a part of Atach, no, I can smash a part of Elia. The lower shape, I don't know if that's parts of its face, but basically parts of in Kabbalah language, parts of means a certain way of expression, a way of being. Like there's the parts of Atzilus, parts of Chochmah. So each part, in order for it to be created, it's created from the lowest, from the lowest madrig in the lowest portion of Yochel from the madrig above it. For example, it says in Kabbalah, Malchus the Ark, Nasa Kesabatik Atzilus, Malchus the Atzilus, Nasa Kesabatik the Bria. So in each stage in the Shtashalus, we learn in Kabbalah that the creation of the law Olam comes from the lowest madrega of the upper. Being K, so that was just an example. There's a Kavachayim, and in our discussion, the Sabbath elements, when it's something that seems to happen, I know it's Bachas then so. In order for the elements should be created from the assumption that seems which madrega can they be created from only from the lowest madrega, which is Malchus. But before the tzimtzum, Malchus is not. Before there's a tzimtzum, Malchus is not separate. Tzakechas and Elomim, all of them are equal. They're united. So this is the way how he explains the need for the tzimtzum in this particular discussion. The point of the tzimtzum is to separate within the spheres shlifnei tzimtzum, separate spheres and malchus as its own entity, and then in turn can be created the ishtashu. Because man, the keiches are in an equal, and they're equal and they're united. So malchus is not. So the malchus is not its own on its own separate being, Mele cannot create the oilums. Vahainu, he explains it more. Vahainu, the inner Tzimtzum, the other thing is that the Chayin Sheben assumption he got from the atom is more oilums. The Pradesh, the Abdalazu, there's a darker that Tzimtzum sounds whole story. Okay, just the same thing I just said. I don't know why but probably there is also more something more subtle that he's saying here, but the idea is that, like I said, the function, the need for the tzimtzum is to separate that level of malchus. You know, and now marshal. So now we bring a marshal, which will help a little bit relate to this idea you just said. Now marshal mehashpoas arab talmud. That's the standard marshal of Siddur is the way a teacher teaches the student. The way the seichel is in the mind of the teacher, it's not on the level of the Talmud. It's like it's true that whatever the teacher has in his mind contains also what eventually the student will be able to relate to. But on the other hand, but at the same time, it's not recognizable as a separate way of understanding. What is the way for the teacher to reach the level, the stage that he can actually teach the student? He has to hide, conceal the Eira Seichel. Only then can he find within himself that aspect, that part of the Seichel that the student can relate to. So that's much similar in the Nimshal. Some of them, so there's any need to this sneak of Nats. So that is stage one, why we need the Tzimtzum. That's how you explain it now. That this is in order to that the spheres of Machash, the Machash, and the reception of Tzimtzum, Machash, the Sof, should be its own separate entity, then it can create the Shtashis. But now he adds another layer. That's not really not enough. Now so now he says really, he said two timing, right? There was two reasons. The reason that we explained in the earlier mime was pshitus, that the spheres, the way they understand, they're for the tzimtzum way of pshitus, and then tzimtzum makes them less pshitus, more metziu. In this mime, he started saying how he has to separate them. So now he tells us why we need really both. 1 second. What? Okay, so 1 minute. I'll give you something else. It's not enough. He says we need a Tama Aleph because even after the Malchus is separated his own being, it's still in the state of Pshitus. So we also need the Tzimtzum should hide the Pshitus, the Insof, the infinity. That's the point of Shima Shememena Nimshach Hakav. The Aino Sheklol is a Shaykh La'olam. שזה מבחינת העשר חיים שבין סוף, מבחינת נקודה ובית, מבחינת קרק גבולי. In other words, it's not enough. That it's really what he's saying here. Like in our mind, it's hard to separate these two types. But he's talking about two different things. There's the separation, the fact that it's its own entity, plus that it's not that it's gvul. That's the big gvul. Even if it's separated, it can stay in a state of bligvul and pshitus. So the elements cannot be created. So in order for the elements to be created, the tzimtzum has to do another thing. Not only does it have to separate the sphere, should become its own. Each sphere should be its own, and the malchus should be its own. In addition to that, the spheres and malchus, in the malchus, the intention of not tzimtzum, should not have the infinity, the pshitus, but it should be b'chinas nekuda bilvad. It's gvul. It should be limited. The whole nekuda. What is a nekuda? What is a dot? Its edges, its borders are limited. The whole point of a dot is the opposite of extension. It can spread out and can be a dot. What does it mean? So what do it mean when we say that to the tzimtzum there's a reshima, which is like a nekuda? So the infinity is hidden. What we do, what's left is just the kayach gvuli, which is mugma. Because and this part is also a result of the tzimtzum, of the contraction and the salmas, the concealment. About the tchila, when the earth is hidden, there's a nibble. So there are two parts. Number one, nivdala, the current spheres malchus is separated as its own being. And number two, it turns into a limited power. Hanal, and that's also seen in the mashal of the Rav Talmud. What do we see in the mashal? In the bottom of page Lamed Ches, what do we see in the mashal? The mashal, not the seichel, the mashal of teacher teaching the student that when the teacher hides within himself the expression of his intellectual power, so when the teacher hides within his mind that his entire way of seeing things, he can separate, so to speak, that aspect of the seichel that he has that's relatable to the student. Another thing happens, and that aspect that's related to the student, it's in a way, it's in a kuda, it's limited, it's not in full force. So this is another point that why we need the tzimtzum. So actually there's 2 points. We need the tzimtzum in order to create the sphere of malchus, the koyach hatachta should be a separate being, and it should be in a state of nekuda. It should not be fully infinite. But now he's adding another layer. There's another thing. There's another let's say function, or maybe another result of the salmasai. There's another result. That means in another concept. When the spheres were united within when the spheres before the tzimtzum, all the 10 spheres were in a state of unity, the way he explained earlier by Koiches and Elamim, that the way the Koiches and the Nefesh, they're united, and the same thing the spheres prior to the tzimtzum, they're in a state of total unity and connection. So what happens is, when a lot of when 10 spheres are united, the unity itself, the connection of 10 separate beings, that itself creates a higher type of oil that shines there. And that is even in Safshalishnet. He's gonna go later, develop it more, but he's going to that discussion. What he's going to end up saying is that alien that exists when they're all united, that's lost when there's a tzimtzum. But he's going to what?
I'm sorry. What creates that the unity, or because there's that shining that creates unity? I'm saying like the chicken came before. What makes what?
That's a good question. But let's see. I think the unity. What he's trying to say, I think, is the unity somehow creates that earth. Look at the way it's in the market. What you're saying is right. The sheur is the other way around. That the fact that there's such a oil creates unity. But he brings a mashal that's mematal ma'al. He brings in what says in Tanya and Sheikh Vayimud Bereket Beis. The whole he talks about Asor Mamoris over there, that every the way the world is created, each part of it's created from the Eibishter's orderance of worlds. Worlds are made up of ladders. Each ladder of the letters of Aleph base is really signifies a certain flow of energy, particular defined type of energy. That's what it says over there in Tanya. So when a lot of letters turn into a word, in addition to the fact we have an abundance. Abundance maybe is overstated, but it's a lot. Let's say there's a word that has 5 letters. So each letter has its own energy. So each energy, so you have a combination of a lot of kaychas achayis. He's going to bring later the marshal. I don't know why he's expressing this. Later is bring the marshal. It's simple. When we have letters, each letter has brings out an idea. When you combine a few letters together, there's a word there. And that word is a new word. So the unity of the letters creates a word which is more than like the expression, more than the sum of its parts. It's not just they took letter A, B, C, and D and they combined them together, but there's a new word out there that didn't exist before. So that's the Koach Elyon. Kamoikin human b'spheres elyonos. So similar to that in spheres and Vishabas Kulon, when the spheres in Tanya it talks about the Oisis. So similar is also in the spheres. Vishabas Kulon meir b'ma'er elin shamala meir sheb'kol spheres. When the spheres are united, so the unity creates a alien. The Cheinugam, but not that's the chiddush of our mind. The Cheinugam, but even in those spheres that are in the soul, which is a state of pshitus, which means they're not really defined. There's still spheres. Now, interestingly, it brings Psarayim from Pardes, because that's what he spoke about all along. But it brings Arayim. Noida Gamkosh, because of Pardes, says in Pardes in the Ramak, Shagam Betzachzacharis. Tzachzacharis means the highest Maleg in spheres. Yeshvas Atzas, okay. Upon him, in the air himself is also spheres. Shayar Gam Shom, so it makes sense to say there, the Bisardas Kula Meir Bem Elin Yes. So the unity of the spheres, the combination, the fact that all of them are together, that itself creates a higher oil. But Mandy, you're right saying that it doesn't mean that the spheres create that. It means that the unity, the oil is the one that it's no matter what it's. I mean, the language, the way it's in the marshal sounds like it's no matter what. Take letters, you combine them, all of a sudden a word comes out. But I think the way we talk in the spheres, you can't use it. It's hard to imagine that, to look at it that way. It means that there is their unity means that there's a special higher air that unites them. But then in that gufa, he has two ways to look at it. What is the madrigal? Number one, so the pashtas, that makes more, that's the more intuitive way to say it. It means there's some overpowering surrounding light that combines them all. But Yosan Yerloim Abad, the Rebbe says no. Yosan Yerloim Shagam can pnimi. That unites them, it's higher than each of them, but it's not a mak, it's a pnimi. Now, but what type of pnimi? Shalamayla ma'aba ma'pnimi ma'ma shaspheres. It's higher than the real pnimi. The sphere is that silas ubchinas mislavish bekeli. The pnimi sphere is that silas. That's the mislavish bekeli. Kamay b'mashal what was Shebeinu now. So that's like the mashal we just learned from Tanya, from the Isis. The kol ois yesh b'chayes v'koyach miyuchad. Each letter has its own life force. Ubitztar kama Isis v'teva achas. When a few letters are combined into one word, for example, the word boch, so that the combination of these four letters into a word, there's a new shot. Should get benched, like you like. So we see in this marshal. So basically, it says that boch can be two things. Boch means benched, blessed, geloyt, praised. It's like we say boch shama v'yoylam. I guess okay, he's going to say in a minute it was boch shama. So boch sometimes means praised. So that's one mashal. And another mashal, kasha yesh tzir v'ezet teves yachad, when a few words combine together, where boch shama v'yoylam. So similar things happen. Similar situation happens. That the combination of these four words, just like you say, we combine letters into words, so the word all of a sudden has a new meaning that didn't exist before. Similar to that in combination of few words. The four words. In addition to the pshat that each word says, the combination of these four words brings out a higher idea that we didn't have each word individually. What is the meaning? For example, what is the meaning of the words Bo Shoma Vaya Olam? Sheba'amira achas nivra kol ha'olamos. So Chassidus teaches what Bo Shoma Vaya Olam. Shoma means said one word. Ba'amira achas. So what is the right from that statement, from that recognition that all the olamos are created by Ba'amira achas? I call olamos Shoma Ba'ashvo. So olamos are equal. So Amira achas. The mele moving means that Amir ze Amir da'ak. So that's the Chagav says. That we see here. So what do we see when letters are combined into words? The word has a new meaning. Few words are combined into a sentence. The sentence has a new meaning. So he uses this marshal to show that the new oil that's higher than them, it's not a makif, because the pshat in the word is not makif, it's pnimi, it has meaning. It's not something. It's not like when they combine the letters together. So there's some higher concept which is above the letters. It's not above. It's pnimi. It's something that's relatable. That's internalized, because the word has meaning. The word "bo" has meaning. It bench the gelab. The word "bo shama ba'elam" has meaning. It's the Amir da'ak. It's the Amir kulam b'shvo. So that is a marshal on the concept that the way the spheres are united. they are, כמוכן, יובן, הספיר שבסעד הסקולם, יש בהם אוין ניילם אוין. Okay, I think, all right, it's 8 o'clock already. I think we're gonna skip Erev Yom Tov. It's too much for me. So we'll continue Isur Chag. Okay?
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
so Shabbos with
Thank
Yom
you.
Tov.
Thank you. Good job.
Shabbos with Yom Tov.
Okay.